Sa nakaraang diskusyon, sinabi ko nga na kailangan nating intindihin ng konti yung chemistry ng drug molecules bago man natin intindihin kung ano yung itsura or ano yung totoong interaction ng isang gamot sa kanyang receptor. Alamin muna natin na actually pwede mong aralin yung structure ng gamot mag-isa. Pero syempre, dahil pharmacology ito, kailangan na nating intindihin yung kabilang side. So in the last video, we were focused about the drug. Paano naman si receptor? And this is supposed to be an introduction to that. So tandaan natin, the word receptor is just a common term for a drug target. Kasi yung receptor, para siyang messenger, no? Si receptor, kapag may drug na dumikit sa kanya, meron siyang gagawin down the line na magkakaroon ng effect later on. Pero may ibang mga drug target na hindi ganun yung ginagawa. As in, may ibang drug target, sila talaga yung gumagawa nung gusto nating kontrolin. So sometimes, you can term your drug targets as channels, yung may kinalaman sa movement ng mga ions in and out cells, di ba? Enzymes, which are responsible for catalyzing chemical reactions. So, ang gusto ko lang sabihin dito is, as a rule, kapag nagdi-discuss kayo ng introductory pharmacology, ang pinakagagamitin yung word sa mga to is receptor. Okay? Though it's not always the case. And regardless, no, ang maganda dito, kagandahan dito, mapa-receptor man yan, ion channel man yan, or enzyme man yan, most of them are proteins anyway. So wala masyadong mag-iiba sa kanila. And there are some cases na ang target ng gamot natin ay nucleic acids or actual chemical compounds. Pero yung mga exceptions na to, wag muna nating bigyan ng pansin ngayon, no? Baka maguluhan lang tayo. So ngayon, tandaan natin, so yung mga proteins natin na pwede nating tawagin na receptors, meron dapat laging dalawang property para maging makabuluhan kung baga aralin. Kung wala tong dalawang property, like what are you even studying in the first place? Una, specificity. Dapat daw, ang isang receptor, merong tinatanggap lang na iilan na compound. Kasi, remember, we're talking about shapes here. Kung ang receptor, ang kanyang tinatawag na active site, o yung gap na to, ay ganun yung shape, ang mga molecule lang na pwede pumasok dyan, ay yung may ganong complementary na shape din, di ba? So, parang ganyan. Basta meron siyang ganitong part ng structure nila, then they could probably fit there. And if you studied your enzymes, this is also something that's characteristic of enzymes. It makes sense kasi enzymes could also be targets. So parang parang alam niyo iniikot lang natin yung topic na mapa-receptor, mapa-enzyme yan, mapa-receptor. They should have a level of specificity. Ngayon, yung isang requirement, minsan nakakalimutan ng ibang tao. But do note that a receptor must elicit some kind of physiologic effect. That is, yung receptor na gusto nating i-target ng gamot, dapat kahit wala pang dumidikit na gamot doon, meron nang ginagawa. For example, may ibang receptor sa ating utak, marami actually, iba-iba sila, but we have receptors in our brain responsible for keeping us awake. Tama, di ba? Hindi mo naman kailangan uminom ng gamot para gumising. I mean, the fact that you're alive means that you're gonna sleep, later on, you're gonna wake up. Kailangan mo bang uminom ng gamot para mabuhay? Well, of course, yung iba mamimilang sa punon. Pero generally, the only thing that drugs do that alter your wakefulness is nagpapaantok or nagpapagising. Pero kahit hindi ka uminom ng gamot, for sure, tomorrow, you're gonna wake up. So, by that, I meant that the effect should happen even without a drug at yung activity na ginagawa ng receptor kahit wala pang dumadapo o dumidikit sa kanyang gamot, yung tinatawag sa ibang libro, I think Katzung is one of the most common books that mention this, ang tawag doon is constitutive activity. Kasi ang point is, kung isang receptor, as in zero activity siya, anong gagawin ng gamot sa kanya? Sasabihin mo ang gamot ang ginagawa, pinapaganda ang activity, pinapaganda mo yung zero effect. Walang mangyayari doon, di ba? Or we will worsen the activity. Wala naman siya activity. What's there to worsen? Kuha niyo ba? If you meet these two requirements, specificity and physiologic effect, we could say that that receptor is druggable. Ngayon, if this is the first time you've ever encountered this term, okay lang yan. Kasi the word druggable is not used in all pharmacology textbooks. But I think it's worth mentioning yung term na yan. Kasi di ba, pag sabi mo druggable, druggable meaning it's worth targeting by some kind of drug. So ngayon, ang tanong, alam na natin si receptor. meron siyang activity mag-isa. Ngayon, paano pag may dumikit sa kanyang gamot? Ano yung pwedeng gawin ng gamot? You have two choices. Either magpapataas ng activity or pipigilang tumaas yung activity. Take note nyo yung words na ginagamit ko. So una, yung mga tawag sa gamot na nagpapataas ng constitutive activity ni receptor, ang tawag sa kanila agonist. So in a way, agonists are there to improve what's already there na ginagawa ni receptor. Okay? If the receptor is an enzyme, no? Okay, tandaan nyo, iba yun, no? They're slightly different terms, no? The better word for something that increases enzyme activity is an activator. Now, if you have a drug that prevents that activity from going up, as in, ulitin ko, if you have a drug that prevents the activity from going up, what we call that drug is an antagonist. Kumbaga, taga-kontra. Parang si antagonist, nakita si receptor. Tapos sabi niya, gusto mong tumaas sa activity, di ko papayagan yan. Ganun yung ugali nila. Enzyme inhibitors, okay, are also alternate terms if instead yung inyong target ay isang enzyme imbis na receptor. Pero parang kumbaga for beginners, I could say that probably you could use it interchangeably. Tapos i-correct na lang natin kung ano yung mas proper term when we go to the individual drugs. Ngayon, dahil 'di ba nandito na tayo sa usapan na ay okay yung gamot ang ginagawa pala niya ay pinapataas o pinipigilan yung pagtaas na activity, we're now talking about quantitative stuff. Tama ba? So ngayon, ang tanong is, gaano kataas ba ang pwedeng itaas? Or gaano kababa ba ang pwedeng ibaba kung meron mang ganon? It's better to use graphs. Tama? Hindi natin pwedeng takasan, unfortunately, sa PICOL ang paggamit ng graph because to increase or decrease, those are quantitative phenomena. Diba? So, look at this. The y-axis is the level of activity. So, parang nilagay ko lang dito arbitrary na units, activity units. Parang bahala na, imagine niyo kung anong units activity to. Lowering of blood pressure, wakefulness, lowering of pain. It's up to you. Basta kung ano activity yan. Could go from 0 to 100% activity. Of course, 100 is the max. Tapos yung x-axis is probably the increase in the dose of the drug. So as I go to the right, tumataas yung level ng gamot. Though, if you look at this diagram, yung starting point ko, diba? So this is time 0. So ibig sabihin, at this point, actually, from this point up to this point, wala pa akong binibigay na gamot. So no drug yet. At makikita nyo tuloy, yung activity natin dito is a flat line. Ngayon, di ba madalas, ang mga graph natin, mapapansin natin, sa 0, ang activity dapat nagsisimula dito sa ilalim kasi wala siyang activity at the start. But you notice here sa diagram ko, meron na talaga siyang activity from this point. Kasi nga, anong sabi ko kanina, ang receptor, kahit wala pang gamot, dapat meron ng ginagawa on its own. Kaya we start somewhere beyond 0. And this level, sabihin natin from 0, parang kalahati ito, no? So itong 50%, let's say that this 50% activity is the intrinsic or constitutive activity of that receptor. Walang gamot, walang problema. Gagana siya mag-isa. Okay? It's just that, sabi ko nga, let's say at this point, at this time, na nag-add ako ng isang gamot, you will notice this will shift somewhere. Kunwari, pag nag-add ako ng agonist, so look at the green color, sabi nga natin, anong ginagawa ng agonist? Nagpapataas ng activity. You know, tumataas siya. Of course, you may ask, gaano po kataas? And the answer is, depende kung gaano kalakas ba yung agonist mo. Kasi mamaya, meron pa tayong mga full at partial agonists na tinatawag. So, saka na yun, no? But, kuha nyo yun, meron na tayong activity sa simula, pinapaganda lang siya ng agonist. Make sense, tama ba? Ngayon, dito tayo sa interesting part. Kasi, even I, alam nyo ba, nung nagtuturo ako, doon ko palang na-realize na mali rin yung pagkaintindi ko sa antagonist. And if you have been a victim of this wrong concept, it's absolutely fine. Kasi ang iniisip natin, antagonize, kakalaban. So ibababa mo yung activity. So kung susundin natin yon, dapat ang itsura ng diagram pag may antagonist tayo is ganun, di ba? Pababa. So ito yung default activity, we will lower it down. That is actually incorrect. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, ang antagonist, ang ginagawa niya, pinipigilan niyang tumaas. Pero wala akong sinabi na binababa. Tama ba? Ulitin ko pinipigilan tumaas. Pagbaba. Pareho ba yun? Siyempre hindi. So ngayon, paano ang itsura nun pag sinabi ko pinipigilan tumaas? Ang ibig sabihin nun, kunwari, meron akong flatline, di ba kanina, sa node drug, at naglagay ako ng antagonist, guess what? Red lines, we will continue that flatline. Kasi ano nga yan, pinipigilang tumaas yung activity. Eh di flat lang siya all throughout. Ngayon, baka tanongin nyo, paano po kapag nagbigay ako ng agonist sa simula, tapos nagbigay ako ng antagonist pagkatapos? So, actually yun yung blue line. Kasi kunwari, nag-add ako ng agonist, di ba, tataas siya. Tapos, let's say, at this point, I add an antagonist after. Ano ulit yung trabaho ng antagonist? Pinipigilan niyang tumaas. Although, at this case, tumaas na siya, di ba? So, ang gagawin niya antagonist, parang tinitingnan niya sa mukha si agonist. Kunwari, sa antagonist, nakita niya to. Ay, tinaas mo yung activity. Bawal yan. So, ang gagawin niya antagonist is ibababa niya ulit hanggang mag-flat ulit yun. Kasi nga, itong trabaho ng antagonist, hindi niya papayagang tumaas na muli ito. Dahil ganon, ang ginagawa pala ng karamihan ng antagonist na alam natin, pinipigilan tumaas. Hindi pwedeng tumaas, although at the same time, hindi pwedeng bumaba. Kaya does it make sense na ang pangalan ng mga antagonist natin, madalas, is neutral antagonist. Neutral, not going up, not going down. And that's, I think, a concept that we should understand very clearly from the start. Ngayon, isa pa. Kung maaalala niyo sa enzyme kinetics, and I'm using enzyme kinetics kasi tandaan niyo, enzymes and receptors are popular drug targets. Their graphs are actually quite similar in pharmacodynamics. Sa enzyme kinetics, di ba? And this is usually what we call in biochem as the Michaelis-Menten plot. Yung x-axis natin is the substrate concentration. Tapos yung y-axis is the enzyme activity, which is based on how much product is produced. So, di ba, the more substrate I add, the more the enzyme activity goes up. Tapos aabot sa point na nasaturate na lahat ng enzymes natin and hindi na pwede tayong tumaas. So, ito yung magiging tinatawag natin na Emax. Tapos, pag kinuha natin yung 1/2 ng Emax at pinlat pabalik sa curve na to at binaba, ito yung Km or the Michaelis constant. Kapag medyo nawala kayo doon, I think it's a good idea to go back to your enzyme kinetics. Ngayon, ang gusto ko sabihin is, kung ito, kinonvert natin yung plot na to for a receptor instead of an enzyme, you just need to make minor modifications. Instead of calling it Emax, you could probably call it Bmax or maximum binding. Okay? Which is actually hindi naman siya lumalayo sa idea ng Emax. Kumbaga RT lang siya. Sa kadzong Bmax ang tawag sa ganito eh. Tapos if you get 1/2 of the Bmax, pinlat siya at binaba, imbis na Michaelis constant, hindi na enzyme kasi to, di ba? We now call this the KD. D stands for dissociation. So KD stands for dissociation constant. Tapos syempre, imbis na substrate, we could just say, this is the concentration of the drug that we're giving. Okay? Tapos pwede yung E dito, we could just replace the meaning of E here kapag receptor as the activity or the efficacy. Okay? Tapos isa pa, sa pharmacology textbook, mas ma-appreciate nyo kung bakit ito ginagawa sa isang recording pa. Imbis na ganitong plot ang ginagawa, ang ginagamit natin ay more of semilog. Okay? Semilog. So ang gagawin mo lang naman sa semilog, imbis na E yung nasa y-axis at C yung nasa x-axis. Okay? Ang gagawin mo lang is ilo-logarithm mo lang yung nasa x-axis. Tapos ang mangyayari lang yun, mag-shift yung hyperbolic na itsura niya into sigmoidal. Ngayon, ang makagandahan naman kapag maging semilog siya, wala namang magbabago sa pag-analyze mo. So kanina, kapag hyperbolic yung shape, di ba, iti-trace mo lang to get the Bmax, tapos kalahati, balik dito, baba, to get the constant, the KD. Ganon din naman dito. So trace, ito yung Bmax, kalahati, go here, back down, yun yung KD. It's just that, mas malinis siya tingnan, mas ma-appreciate nyo mamaya. In another video, I mean. Ngayon, isa pang importanteng part. Di ba sabi ko kanina, I already assume some of you will ask, paano po malalaman kung gaano kataas yung itataas ng agonist? And I already answered a while ago. Depende kung gaano kalakas. So, ibig sabihin, meron pala tayong palakasan minsan. Na minsan, kunwari, meron tayong receptor. Meron tayong inaaral na gamot na para sa receptor na yun na agonist. May iba na mas malakas, may iba mas mahina. Kaya nga doon lumalabas yung mga salita na full agonist at partial agonist. Sabihin na lang natin, ng full agonist, ang kaya niyang abutin is yung pinakamalakas na known activity up to date. Okay? Na as of 2021, ito po ay ito yung mga full agonist natin kasi sila yung pwedeng magbigay ng ganito kalakas na improvements sa activity from the original constitutive activity, of course. So sabihin natin, if this was, balik tayo sa 0 to 100, so if our constitutive activity was originally 50%, tapos kaya mo talagang yung green na to na drug could go all the way to 100, lakas mo. So very powerful. So you call it a full agonist. Pero sabihin natin, ang kaya lang nating abutin na improvement ay, ewan ko, parang 75%, no? So, tumaas ba siya? Siyempre, 50 to 75% is still an improvement. Pero inabot niya ba yung power or yung level ng green, yung full? Hindi. So, tinaas niya, agonist pa rin ang tawag, pero dahil hindi niya inabot yung ganito kalakas, it's just partial. Okay? And I think the words full and partial are already self-explanatory. Alam natin, kanina nga sabi ko, na if you want to keep a flat line, you would want something called a neutral antagonist. At sa majority ng case, pag may inaaral ka sa pharmacology na antagonist, sabihin na lang natin na 99% of the time neutral antagonist ang classification niya. Like that remaining 1% will only happen, like minsan nga halos wala ka na maaaral na ganito. But there are those very, very, very rare antagonists na nagpapababa talaga ng activity. So kung ito yung constitutive na 20, na 50, pwede niya ibaba to like 20%. Diba? Parang pag tinrace ko to mga 20%. Siyempre, tansyahan lang naman ginagawa ko dito. Ang tawag sa mga bihirang gamot na gumagawa ng ganito ay mga inverse agonist. Kasi inverse, baliktad siya ng ginagawa ng agonist. Ang agonist nagpapataas ng CA, ang inverse agonist nagpapababa. Tapos parang namimiloso po siya parang, kasi akala natin ang agonist nagpapataas ng activity. Tapos ito inverse agonist, baliktad yung ginagawa. Kaya nga ako, I personally try to not mention this if possible because it's a very confusing term. Pero kasi, dahil most likely, makikita niyo yung diagram na to sa ibang mga pharmacology textbook, binanggit ko na rin lang siya. Ngayon, bilang summary lang sa discussion natin so far with our receptors, tandaan ulit natin, ang mga receptors na gusto natin ay mga druggable. Meaning, meron siyang ginagawa on its own, meron siyang constitutive activity, and of course, they have a level of specificity. Now, of course, the drugs that can bind to them can either be agonists, meaning they improve the activity, or antagonists, which is most of the time, do not or prevent the increase of activity. Ngayon, remember this, hindi kasi maiiwasan minsan na meron tayong ibang mga protein sa katawan natin na kamukha ng druggable receptors pero wala siyang activity talaga. Parang, kunwari, okay, merong gamot na nag-bind sa kanila, walang kwenta, walang mangyayari. Those receptors are called silent. Silent ang tawag kasi, kunwari, akala mo agonist pupunta sa silent receptor. Ay, dapat may walang tataas kasi wala silang ginagawa. Ay, antagonist, may pinipigilan, wala kang pipigilan, wala naman siyang ginagawa. And actually, in advanced pharmacology discussions, the silent receptors would complicate yung mga graphs na inaaral natin ngayon. So to mean, meron pa palang iko-komplika yung inaaral natin or dinidiscuss ko ngayon. Kaya ito yung violet na line niya yan sa baba, silent yan. Kasi mapapansin nyo, di ba, kung wala namang activity or constitutive activity ang silent receptor in the first place, kaya mag-add ka man ng agonist or ng antagonist, walang kwenta kasi there's nothing to improve or reduce in activity in those cases. So, ayun lang.